Hello BookTube, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth and I want to do a quick Friday Reads video to show you what I've been reading recently. Well, I did a Friday Reads on the first Friday of January, but last week I didn't get one done, but if I had, I would have told you that I finished 2 more books during that week, and the biggest of those books was The Plains of Passage by Jean M. Auel. I started this the last week of December, and then I finished it up sometime during the second week of January. All in all, I think it took me about 2.5 weeks. I did listen to it on audio and I sped it up some. If you've ever read any of this series, you know that it's very detailed and descriptive. It's very interesting, but there is a lot of detail about the flora and the fauna. But now I liked this one better than the previous 2. There was a lot more excitement in this one. A lot more things happened. Jondalar and Ayla were on a journey, and so there was a lot of interesting things that happened on their journey. So I think if you've read, you know, the second and or third and you think you're giving up, this one gets better. It really does. Now, it does still have a lot of detail and a lot of eye-rolly, cringy moments, but you just have to kind of take the good with the bad if you want to find out what happens to these characters. The other book I read during the second week of January was really just to kind of keep my numbers up. I didn't think I had read this before. This is the graphic novel of The Titan's Curse. Titan's Curse, of course, is by Rick Riordan. It's the third in the Percy Jackson in the Olympian series. The writing for this series is done by Robert Venditti, and the art is by Attila Futaki. And I had forgotten that I had read this. I really thought I had only read the first 2, and I didn't remember reading this. But I looked back on my Goodreads and discovered that I, in fact, did read it last year. But since I did take the time to read it again, I was able to review another edition, so it still counts for this year, and it still counts for last year, too. And the only problem I had with this, and I didn't remember this from the last time I read it, the artwork of the characters is very similar. Thalia, I don't know how you want to pronounce her name, her character is drawn very similarly at times to Percy and Grover, and they just are hard to tell apart in the with this art style. So that was the only issue that I had, but I enjoyed reading it. It was a good reminder of what happens in this installment of the series, and I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to when the rest of the series comes out in graphic novels. So this week I have finished 3 more books for a total of 8 books so far in January, and I really enjoyed the books that I read this past week. The first one I finished is The Mistletoe N by Richard Paul Evans. This is the second book in the Mistletoe collection. They are all Christmas themed. There are 3 books in this collection. I read the first one earlier in the month, and so I want to go ahead and just read this whole series. I've already got the 3rd one checked out from the library. This one was really enjoyable. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as the first one, but I still thought it was great. It was about a girl who is a writer, and her father pays for her to go to a writer's retreat. She wants to go mainly because an author that she really idolizes is going to be a speaker, and of course when she's there she meets someone and they go out a few times, and it's just a really nice story. Of course there are some tragedies and some heartaches and some surprises, and I really enjoyed the book, and I'm looking forward to reading the next one in the collection. Now, the second book I finished is Cold Sassy Tree by Olive Ann Burns. I'm not going to say a lot about this right now because I think I'm going to do a full review of it. I'm going to go ahead and read the sequel, and then I will probably do a whole video just dedicated to these 2 books. This book was fantastic. I loved this so much. I gave it 5 stars, hands down. I really enjoyed it. It's historical fiction set in Georgia in 1906, and it's just wonderful. And then I read Alive by Scott Sigler. This is a book that my daughter Katie has been wanting me to read, and it was really good. It was very engaging, and I won't tell you a lot about it because it's really better to just go in blind. But it starts out with a girl who wakes up in a coffin, and she's completely enclosed and tied down, and she manages to break herself out of the coffin and realizes she's in a room filled with other coffins. And that's all I'm going to tell you. This is a science fiction adventure story, and I thought it was really, really good. And now Katie is wanting me to hurry up and read the next one already. The 3rd book in this trilogy doesn't come out until later this year, but I do want to go ahead and get the 2nd one read so that I will be ready to read the 3rd one when it comes out, because I want to go ahead and finish this trilogy this year. So that's all that I finished this week. What I'm currently reading right now, I wanted to pick up an organizing book because it's January and this is a great time to read one. So I found this actually on Hoopla, the audio and the ebook. I went ahead and picked up the paper copy from the library because I wanted to see the charts and the plans and things like that. But this is Lose the Clutter, Lose the Weight, the 6-week Total Life Slim Down by Peter Walsh. If you don't know who Peter Walsh is, he's probably most widely known for being Oprah's organizer. But before that, he was the organizer on a really cool, fun show that was on TLC that I used to watch. I really enjoyed seeing it. They would go in and they would take all the stuff out of 2 rooms, and he would help them go through it and sort out what they didn't need, and then they would have a yard sale, and meanwhile him and the interior designer were and the carpenter were fixing up the rooms, and they would come back in for the reveal at the end, and oh, that was a great show. I loved it. So I really enjoy Peter Walsh. The only thing I'm disappointed about is on the audio, it's not him narrating it. They have another man with an Australian accent, which is fine, so you can kind of imagine that it's Peter Walsh reading it, but I really wish that it was him actually reading it. Another book I just started is Where Two Ways Met by Grace Livingston Hill. I'm going to be doing a Grace Livingston Hill project this year, which I mentioned in my goals video, which is already filmed and should be coming very soon. And I plan on also doing a separate video about my Grace Livingston Hill project. I've also got a book I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I started on my Kindle. I have not read any on it for the past couple of weeks, but I do want to get back to that, and that is Pauper to Pedigree, and it's by Angel M. Then just today I was subbing at my daughter's middle school, and I started The Honest Truth by Dan Gemenhart. This is one of the Sunshine State books for this year. It's about a boy who's been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, and he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in the hospital, so he runs away to go and hike in the mountains, and I'm only just a chapter in, and it sounds like it's going to be really good. So I'm having a hard time deciding what else to pick up next for this week. Because Katie wants me to read Alight, which is the sequel to Alive by Scott Sigler. I also really want to read the next Brides of the West book, which is June. I've got some cozies I need to read. I never got the Christmas Cookie Killer read in December, and I'd like to get to it before before I'm really too far past the holiday season. And the same for Mistletoe Murder. This was one of our Book One Cozies Club selections. And then our selection for January for the Book One Cozies Club is Pretty Poison by Joyce and Jim Levine. I want to try to at least read one of these holiday ones very soon. Then I've got the third book in the Mistletoe collection, The Mistletoe Secret by Richard Paul Evans. And I went ahead and ordered this from the library, Dance Hall of the Dead by Tony Hillerman. This is the second book in the Leap Horn and Chi mystery series. I want to go ahead and read some of these this year because later on in the year, our local book club is reading Skinwalkers, and that is number 7 or 8 or 9 or something, I don't know, in that series. Now, everybody at book club says, oh, they're standalone stories, you can read them whenever, but I'm just really funny about reading things in order, so I think I'm going to go ahead and try to read as many of them as I can before it's time for me to read Skinwalkers. I want to try to get to this pretty soon. It's pretty large font, and it's just barely over 200 pages, so I should be able to get to this fairly quickly. Then another one that Katie and I have been talking about reading for quite a while is The Kiss of Deception. So we went ahead and checked it out from the library the other day. I don't know when I'm going to get to this, and neither does she, but it was on the shelf available, and I really have been wanting to read this. It's a chunk or two. When I first heard Felicia from Little Prairie Library talking about this a couple of years ago, she really made me want to read it, and I want to get to this at some point soon. And then I went ahead and picked up my book club book for February. It's Big Trouble by Dave Barry. This is pretty short as well, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get this read in January so that in February I can read my March book club book, because in March I just want to read mysteries, and our book club book for March is not a mystery. This one is less than 300 pages, and I've also got it on audio from the library, so I should be able to get to this one. I'm probably going to go ahead and get to this one during this coming week. So I've got a lot of stuff to read. I really just want to read all the books all at one time. Right now, I want to consume them all. It's like when you're at a buffet and you want everything and there's not enough room on your plate for all of it. That's how I feel right now. I've got so many good books that I want to read. So I'll let you know next week what I get read. And as far as video goals for this coming week, I have already filmed and edited my goals for 2017, and I'll probably be uploading that either tonight or tomorrow. I may not do a Saturday Shelfie tour for this weekend, because I've got some other videos that I really want to work on sooner than that, and you'll find out about those if you watch my goals video, which should be coming up pretty soon after this video is uploaded. So for now, that's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, have a good weekend, and God bless you.